Damn, Perk did this?
I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
Do you consider dating outside of your race, religion, or culture? As women, do you guys see yourself dating outside of even just the Black community itself, American community? I think that if you're going to answer this question, I really want to know, because I think there are a lot of women here in America who are Black American women who kind of don't. You hear them say, "I want a brother, I want a king." You hear them saying that, but they want, this positive role model as Black males. And so my question is, if you would consider going outside of that realm yourself, or have you, or are you doing such?
Okay, all right. And so you can actually answer your own question.
Okay. So I will answer my question. So I did start a little bit of a new series that is kind of talking about me dating someone, or talking to someone, or getting to know someone outside of my America. So this gentleman I'm talking to now kind of is from Afghanistan. So that's a little bit different. Obviously, I'm poly over there. There's a lot of polygamists, but their culture is actually starting to transition to, I see a lot of polyandry people in their area now, which is very interesting. And that, I believe, has to do with a lot of globalization that's taking place. There's a lot more women who are getting married right now. They're going to school instead. So those things are changing in different cultures too. So I am considering it, and especially for myself, like I'm thinking about possibly dating someone who's a little bit more serious, not in the fun place of dating. And those particular people that you may want to meet who've been kind of focused on their careers and stuff like that. I'm saying they're not in America, but I could easily find someone who would like to proceed in a more serious fashion within 6 months to a year, in a culture like that, where they decide to marry people within 6 months to a year because they're dating intentionally. So I would consider it. I am considering it, and I'm finding it rather interesting and exciting.
Got it. Okay. And then let's go to Lady E.
I've dated outside of my race. I've actually been married outside of my race. My ex-husband is Hispanic, from Honduran descent. One of my greatest relationships that I've ever experienced was with a Nigerian. I have dated men from Cameroon, but they all reside within the US. I've never actually dated someone outside of US territory. Also, with me being, from the Caribbean, I guess it's not necessarily out of pocket for me. So experiencing different cultures, I am definitely open to that. If I so happen to fall in love and be married to someone that's of a different race or of a different culture, my hopes are, well, not hopes, but my requirements would be that I would still have to be able to maintain, some of the traditions from my culture. That's it.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you. All right. Miss Nebraska.
See, I told you I am shy.
You all right. You all right.
I would say first thing first, we have a lot of good comments in the chat that I think we should answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to them.
What was the original question?
So the original question was, do you consider dating outside of your race, religion, and culture?
Yes, I have dated outside of my race before. Not overseas per se. I've dated those who were born here. Their parents are from overseas, but they were born here in the States. But I will always be open to it. Thank you, E. You're amazing as well. You look amazing as well. Thank you.
Okay. Were you going to continue elaborating, or were you done with that?
Oh no, I'm done.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
cool. Oh no, no worries. Okay, and then Miss Holly.
I've been in relationships with and dated men outside my race. Matter of fact, my ex-fiance was white, like white, like Anglo-Saxon white. I don't really see it as a huge problem for neither Black women or Black men. Dating is somewhat of a contact sport, and the more opportunities you have out there, by not limiting yourself to just being Black, I don't know. Like I said before, I date people that I choose to date, and it doesn't have anything to do with their race. Now, with that being said, when you have the opposite sex being demeaned by men who choose to date outside their race, or women saying, well, we're defecting from Black men. None of that. Why are you worried about that? Yes, there are plenty people out there that looks like you. I'm just saying, don't limit yourself. If your preference is to date Black men, okay, date Black men. But for me, it's just been a commonplace that I don't even question it no more. Plus, living down here in South Florida and Miami, like, it's just common because you have a lot more cultures coming in. So, like I said, do you, if you happy with it. And when I refer to that, unlike, getting out of the country, like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with sex tourism. I'm talking about actually finding love, being in a relationship, and getting married. So, like I said, I'm an equal opportunity dater.
All right. Perfect. Locks Keeper, what say you?
Yes. I mean, hey, I'm gonna go back when I was younger. My parents basically told me, you can date outside your race. That's totally fine, as long as they love the Lord. When I was younger, I was just like, sure, that's it. That's all the advice you're gonna give me for dating. Okay, I'm gonna try to run with that. All right. So that's when I started to like, okay, I'm just gonna look at what my surrounding area is, because we didn't have, social media yet. We didn't have that yet. So basically I was looking around, I was in Pittsburgh, and I was in the city. I was like nearby the homeless shelter, like we're in the city. So it was pretty diverse. And then I moved to Nyack, New York, and that was totally different because now I'm not in Pennsylvania. I am in New York, and New York is different. So I'm in there, and then luckily I went to a diverse school. So I had diverse friends. And so having friends, you kind of just learn more about them, and then you learn about the guys. You're just like, oh, these are not like half bad looking. Like, oh, they have kind of like a good heart. Maybe we'll see how that goes. Like, what kind of common like interests do we have besides race? Because now I'm just looking at if you have a good heart. And so in college, I did date outside my race, and he was Irish. And unfortunately, he was a bad soul, and he didn't do so good. Like, he lived in Maine in a small town, and that's a different type of culture. Like, I was from the city, and then I moved to like a bigger town, but yet it felt like we still had a lot of population. Like, you're with people. If you're in a small town, it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe. So I had to navigate through that. And mostly like his family was navigating through that as well, because they're like, we don't see you too much in Maine, but now that people are migrating, now that people are kind of just like going to different places and everything like that, you see more people that is in your same race. Now, jumping in after college, I am now dating a Ukrainian man. And let me tell you, I did not know anything about Ukrainians at all. I'm not going to lie. They're near Russia, and all I know is Russia. So I didn't really know Ukrainians. And I was in Mount Kisco. He was in Mount Kisco, and he moved when he was 8 years old. And so he was in Yorktown. So like he was a Ukrainian family. They speak Ukrainian and all that. And we've been dating for 4 years, and we are in love. I love him so much. He is amazing. I have never met a man like him. He is so kind. He just showed me so much of the world with just like knowing him and his cultures and just learning about what it's like in Ukraine and all that. And that gave me more of a perspective. And then it comes with the family, you know. My family, like I said, was more like, hey, date outside your race. His family were a little bit different. They were a little bit shocked. They're very shocked when they saw me. They're like, I never knew that he would bring this type of girl, you know? And so they had to navigate through that as well. So that comes with some certain territories as well. So that's a little bit background of why I have dated outside my race. And so far it's been good. It's been great. I'm in love. I can't wait to marry him. He is the one.
I did it again. I said, and I remember exactly what I said. I said, "Oh wow, shout out to Ukraine." That's what I said. All right. So Mrs. She said, so I know you've been married for a long time, but have you dated outside of your culture and race prior to you being married?
Oh man, I've been with this man since I was 20 years old. I was dating from kindergarten. We're not talking, sex, but I was one of them little girls growing up in New York City. Of course, New York is very cultured and eclectic, different
Right.
people around every corner. So it was an awesome dynamic. I've dated all different cultures,
Right.
African, different Caribbeans, Hispanic, and I think just us being willing to learn another culture is very important when you're finding love. So if you're not willing to do that and you're stuck in your culture and are not willing to acquiesce to another's and be able to teach as well as be able to learn, it's going to be challenging. Even with religion, that's going to be challenging as well. I'm a biracial child. My mother's white, my father's black. So I wanted the blackest of the blackest coming from New York City. It just showed a certain strength, a dominance that a man was going to be willing to lead me not off a cliff, but to a better life than what I came up in. A level of intelligence, a level of understanding. I think for me personally, I wouldn't date outside my race because I want to be able to understand fully, and with that I understand myself, the black side of myself, so much that it's easier for me to understand the dynamic of a black man, versus trying to acquiesce to another culture and dynamic outside of the United States, and growing up here stripped from our culture and our traditions. And my husband definitely have a similar background of not having that information. So finding each other and being secure in that genuine human love was important. So my children, love is love for me. Just wanting them to understand that it may become conflict and it's going to show true character with them if they're willing to push through that. So be willing to learn and be willing to teach your mate, and if they're willing to do that, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely, I completely agree. All right, so I'm going to take some time out to get into the comments. Then also, I'm going to address the super chats first. Super chats do jump the line. Also, want to shout out my man XL Pro for the Cash App. Thank you so much. So this first super chat, my man, the coach Andre Love Crossing Borders. American passports has access to 94% of the world. What's odd is 72% of Americans will live and die 50 miles from their birth hospital. Wow. All right. So the Mesh Monster, shout out to you. It's funny how the truth is called bashing. Okay. Again, my man Andre Love crossing borders with the 40,000 Colombian pesos. Great panel, beautiful sisters, beautiful smiles, beautiful opinions. Click that like button. Absolutely. Definitely make sure that you are liking this video. And any one of these ladies who are content creators, make sure that you are subscribing to their channels and share this video. Passport Bros created videos for other men to travel. Woman dipped into the comments and assumed that we were talking to them or sex. We were only talking to men. Oh, I do have to kind of back that statement there. Look, I do have to kind of back that statement. Now, I will say the majority of brothers who travel weren't even talking about the women in the States or Western women in general. I think that it's been a narrative that has been kind of spun out of control. But that's just my thoughts.
I mean, I partially agree with you on that. Like I said before, sex tourism, I'm not referring to people meeting and dating or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, I have a cousin and he's been going back and forth from the Dominican Republic to Brazil to Thailand. He's been doing that for years.
Oh, yeah.
For years. So it's not really like, in essence, that he's kind of right. It doesn't involve us. It only involves us when you have to direct any type of negative connotation to someone who ain't got nothing to do with how you choose to use your time. I think that's where it gets very complicated. Yes, have your panels, have this, but you also see people, it's like when there's like Black women are, getting the shitty end of the stick while you're exploiting foreign women. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, like I said before, most people, when they do these trips, it's for sex tourism. There are people meeting online on anywhere in the world. And there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just call a spade a spade. It's sex tourism. You don't have to throw it in our face, and you don't have to do that in lieu of getting to know or whatever you're trying to do with a non-Western woman. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't throw it back in our face if you haven't had good experiences with Black women.
So I agree somewhat. My only pushback is that it's been brought to, like, it was brought to men who travel attention that women, and I don't want to just say like Black women, but women of all ethnicities have kind of been. Oh, I'm hearing feedback. Echo. Okay, let me try that again. What I was saying was that so I guess my pushback and men who do travel, their pushback is like that women of all ethnicities are pushing back, trying to have been like talking about the men. So the men have been kind of standing up and defending themselves, and I think that's where a lot of the disconnect is coming from. So it's like a bumping of heads, if you will, right? So
Absolutely.
So I won't say, I'll never say that you're completely wrong, but I will say that, the men who travel, these are the things that they say in these groups, or they say to me directly.
I mean, but like I said before, this has been going on for years. It's been going on well before there was social media. And so, like I said before, like, do what you do. But I think once it's, again, those audiences who take it in a certain way. I mean, I've heard people on live saying like, oh, I only date, I go out of the country because I can't find no good Black women, or I can't find a good woman, period. I don't get, like I said, go and do what you do. But the moment I get dragged into the conversation in general, a Black woman, that's when it becomes an issue. We ain't got to enjoy. I could not tell you these YouTube channels where I found, people talked about it, or an Instagram page or a TikTok page. I get screenshots and stuff like that, and we know it's a thing. So that's what I'm saying. Do what you do, boo boo. But you know, it don't have to be on the backs of us, and it definitely doesn't have to be from a perspective where you're exploiting non-Western women. That's my 2 cents.